Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Maybe I should look at the camera. Smile and look at the camera and be pretty. I can't do it. Do I wave? Is that normal? Why can't I be normal? This is the face of someone doing something wrong. She loves this so much. Okay, bye. Okay. Oh my god, my cat is vomiting. Oh my god. Nope. Oh my god. Oh my god. It's on my sock. Oh god. Composure, don't think about the vomit on your sock. Okay, I'll take my sock off later. This is great. Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's June 2020 and we've certainly slogged through it this year. As I'm sure you're all aware, if you're watching right now, that it's Pride Month. And if you're not watching right now during Pride Month, that's okay. It can be Pride every day. This is the first costume design of a series of 4 based on Pride and what Pride means to me. I have a lot of rainbow colored surprises for you all this month and I can't wait. I think it's important to remember that Pride was started as a riot. Pride was started as railing against the system and against social stigmas. Pride is a commemoration of the Stonewall riots that took place on June 28th, 1969 in the wee hours of the morning. It's also incredibly important to note that Marsha P. Johnson, a Black trans woman, is one of the first people there, one of the first people to start the riots. I think that more than anything is very important right now to celebrate in 2020. While we've made great strides in this country, it has become very clear this year that we are not where we thought we should be by now. I implore everyone to stand with our Black and brown sisters. I implore everyone to stand with our LGBTQA+ family. Remember, be prideful and be diligent in our fight for equality and peace in this world. Lift up your brothers and sisters who are struggling, and remember what Fannie Lou Hamer said, nobody's free until everybody's free. With that note, let's get started with our first rendering of Pride. For the first rendering, I've chosen the G of the LGBTQA+ acronym, and the G stands for gay. Duh, that's what I am. So let's get started. Alright, so the starting place for any Tyler M. Holland rendering is always going to be the underpainting of the skin tones. Underpainting, in case you're not familiar with the term, is the term we use in the industry to add in all of our warm and cool undertones of flesh to allow the rendering of the skin to look slightly translucent like in real life. Once you've done the skin tone, which will look crazy, actually it should look crazy, I always let the markers dry for at least an hour. Normally when I'm doing a full run of renderings for a show, I'll line up every sketch and assembly line them across my desk. I'll pick up the cool markers and just run through each rendering, doing all of the cool tones, then back to the first and run through each with the transition tone, and so on and so forth. Typically, if the show is large enough, by the time I've laid out the last warm hue, the first one is set long enough to move straight into skin tone. Letting the undertones sit this long is to allow the ink to dry enough so that when you do the even translucent layer of skin tone, it's not going to reactivate the undertones and blend them all in so you can't even see them. For our 2 Showboys today, I've chosen to use my favorite marker, Potato from the Shin Han marker brand for our deeper skin tone, and Buff from Prismacolor for our fairer complected Showboy. Okay, so this rendering has been a bit of a challenge for me because while I love color and I'm not scared of it, I'm very careful with my color schemes in a singular costume. Particularly because costume design isn't for the most part just designing one costume in a vacuum. You have to design thinking about the scene and who's in it, and further, when that scene changes, what colors the audience will see next, and what the emotional choice is of a color, and what character choices the color itself may have. So that being said, it's not often I get to work with all 7 colors of the rainbow in one costume. I went through about 2 hours of testing every single marker in the rainbow I have to make sure I had the right tones and hues of the colors when they were next to each other. You can see some of my test swatches off to the side of the rendering, and I circled the ones I ultimately chose to use together. I decided to go loud and proud and use as pure of a hue of each color as I could, knowing for some I'd have to layer and make the hue more vibrant. A good example of this is red. I'm not sure all of the reasons, but it seems like red is one of the hardest pure pigments in markers and paint. And in markers especially, the red ones tend to dry up in the drawer faster than the other colors.
Alright, I am using a marker I loathe to even show y'all. This marker, the Colorless Blender, is the first thing that goes into the trash can even before the packaging when unwrapping a new kit of markers. I truly hate this marker, and yet here I am using it. Let me explain. The marker is essentially a marker tip with alcohol only. All of the inks I use are alcohol-based, so theoretically this marker is here to be able to re-wet ink already laid down so that you can move it on the paper and feather out the edges and blend. It does not do this. Do not be fooled by its label. All the marker seems to do is saturate the paper and push the color away from where you place the colorless blender down. Ultimately, the amount you have to scrub and saturate the color to make this work as a blending agent not only destroys the paper, but also destroys the value of the hue you laid down. Further, it's incredibly unpredictable as far as what it does to each color. This is probably the only time I've used the colorless blender, and the only reason I'm using it is because I'd like the headdress to be made of white ostrich feathers whose tips are dyed in the color of the rainbow. So it's okay with the blender removing some of the saturation and hue, or being a little sloppy, since feathers when they're all stacked together allow light to come through and colors to shift around by the very nature of being a bunch of translucent tendrils. Alright, so I'm moving into a territory where I'm very comfortable. Rhinestones on a skimpy base. I found the best way to render clear crystal on skin is to use a white gel pen. Yes, those milk pens from the 1990s, they're back! I always put down a dot of Brittany Blue, which is a beautiful, almost slate color and works with almost any skin tone. Then I go back over the shadow dot with a lighter, smaller dot of the white gel pen. I like to put this lighter, smaller dot slightly off-center from the shadow and in the direction of the highlight. It's a little quick and dirty way to render a bunch of rhinestones. Okay, so one of my biggest and campiest secret weapons is clear glitter. I love this stuff because when you pair it with the white glue you used in kindergarten craft times, it completely disappears until light hits it. It's great for when you're doing a concentrated area of small rhinestones, like these rhinestone thongs. Instead of individually rendering in facets or attempting to glue hundreds of little baby nail art rhinestones, you can enhance what you've already drawn with a well-placed spot of practically invisible glitter. Hate on me all you want, but it looks absolutely fabulous in person. Oh, and yes, I do individually apply teeny tiny nail art rhinestones as well. I've mentioned backgrounds for the costumes in the past, and I think they're really important part of costume rendering, as it gives the clothing and character a sense of place and time. For this series, since it's based off the LGBTQA+ acronym, I decided it'd be a lot of fun to use the letters of the group I'm representing as their grounding piece. I went ahead and sketched the letter out behind our performers, and I'm just going in with the Prismacolor Cool Gray marker in 30%. I'm keeping the strokes as even as I can so that I can blend it into a solid light gray wash. This is very difficult, and it took quite a bit of time. The final step is the signature. People need to know you created this. Be proud of your work and sign it. Just like that, and just like that meaning a good 6 hours of work, they're done, and fabulously, flawlessly, loud and proud Showboys. Oh, have you donated to a Black Lives Matter activist group yet? Comment down below or message me on Instagram and I'll happily point you in the direction of one.
Thank you all for watching today. Like and subscribe for more costume design related content. Next week, I'm going to be doing a rendering celebrating the L of our LGBTQA plus family. I'm super excited about this one. Next week, I'll be uploading some conversations with peers in my industry, and we're going to be covering everything from rendering styles to the process of design to the day-to-day behind the curtains kind of things that make theater run. I'm not just speaking with costume designers, I'll be speaking with actors, directors, scenic designers, lighting designers, you name it, I've got it. And I'm so excited to show this stuff for you because I think that this is the kind of stuff they don't teach in school. I think I'd just like to end this whole thing with just sending my love out to everyone that is protesting right now. I think that what you are doing is beautiful, and what you are doing is peaceful, and what you are doing is going to change the world. All of my love. I'll see you next week. Bye.